this is going to be your reading. So I already have your oracle shuffled, but we are going to be looking at your tarot and your oracle, and then we're going to get channeled messages from your spirit guides, and then finally we will get advice and any other messages your guides might have for you through the charms. So hope you all are having a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. So we are just going to ask Spirit and let whatever needs to come out come through. So Spirit, what do you want pile 1 to know at this point? What messages do you have for pile 1, please? Okay. Eight of Pentacles, Strength in reverse, Fool in reverse, 7 of Wands in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse, the 9 of Swords in reverse, and on the back of the deck, the 8 of Wands in reverse. Okay, we just smooth these out. Alrighty, now let's look at your oracles. So to start, we have Crossroad, Choice. We have the Taiga, Roots of Abundance, number 2. Dreams, number 26. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? Smother, 30, and Abdication, Responsibility. Okay, that's interesting. You ended on 8s as well. This is an interesting message, and I think it's very fitting for you guys as well. It's Strength in 8 too. Wow, we have a lot of fire signs here. So Leo especially, Sagittarius and Aries as well. What I'm seeing here though is that your spiritual journey has gotten you to this point where it's time for you to not necessarily start over, but to level up. And I think part of you is really ready for this, but the other part of you is really struggling to maybe get out of certain habits or really commit to the direction you feel like you're being guided to, or the direction you feel like you should go in. And I think one of your biggest issues right now is the fact that you're probably having trouble genuinely trusting the guidance that you're getting from your guides. And I feel like I have to say right away, you already have a wonderful work ethic, and that's really not the issue here. The issue here is trusting the guidance that you're actually getting. And a big thing that I'm hearing, especially with these cards, is that 1, your third eye chakra is opening up a lot. And you're getting guidance in the form of dreams, and also your abilities are being heightened specifically at night. In fact, you might be really sensitive to the moon phases. This tiger talks all about kind of being in tune with the lunar forces. I'm thinking of when Dwight Schrute, if you watch The Office, when he talks about wishing that he had a menstrual cycle so he could be more in tune with the moon and the tides. You don't have to be a woman, but or a person who menstruates, but I feel like what Spirit is saying here is that you're not allowing yourself to really let go of the 3D. You're open to all the wee-woo shit about spirituality, but you're having a really hard time fully committing and trusting what your gut is telling you. And here's what's really interesting, is that you've been working really hard, and Spirit is noting that with this Roots of Abundance card. This is all about grounding, but also trusting that the universe has your back and you're being guided to do what it is that you're doing. And I think at this point, Spirit is asking you to stop using issues in the physical world as a way to delay addressing what's going on inside, because you're not going to be able to delay that for forever. And I feel like you're suppressing a lot of inner stuff that you kind of need to be addressing right now. It could have to do with career, but I think that this doesn't necessarily have to be about your career. I think it could just be about anything your soul is calling you to do, whether it's exploring a new hobby or a new topic, whether it is reaching out to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, whether it's trying to think of some other examples here. Maybe starting a new business endeavor or a new creative project. I feel like Spirit has been giving you answers and messages in your dreams. So they want you to be writing that down. I have a very specific message for some of you though. So if you don't smoke pot, disregard this message. But for those of you who do, it's possible that your habit of doing this right before you go to bed is suppressing your ability to dream. So I feel like Spirit is saying if you're going to imbibe, maybe try to do that earlier in the day. But I mean, if you're saying ASO, that's simply not possible. That's fine. Maybe look into adding mugwort or mixing it with mugwort and smoking that at night instead, or a mix of it if you feel like you can't just stop, if it helps you sleep or something like that. But yeah, we can sometimes suppress your dreams. So for those of you who are struggling to remember your dreams or dream at all when you're typically a very vivid dreamer, Spirit's kind of highlighting that. And that might be something that's stopping you from getting all of the messages in your dreams. But what's really interesting is that you are getting tons of guidance at night. And I think that it's even when you're awake too, like intuitive downloads. So I feel like that's maybe why Spirit's wanting you to use substances less at night, because your powers are stronger then. Your psychic abilities are more gifted or not more gifted, but it's just almost like your mind is clearer at night and it's easier for Spirit to communicate with you. With this 7 of Wands here though, I feel like you might still be struggling in terms of protecting your energy and also not allowing your emotions to get the best of you. Because I think at some level you feel like you allow people to get to you too much, or you care too much about what others think, or you might be really sensitive to energy. And at times you might not understand why you have emotional reactions the way you do. So Spirit is really asking you to come up with some sort of routine in the morning and at night in terms of like meditation, but also just getting to know your energy. I feel like there's a fear here of truly getting to know yourself because you're afraid you might not like what you see. And what's really important to know is that we have to look at the good and the bad aspects of ourselves if we truly want to embrace the light. You know, love and light isn't just love and light and then completely ignoring the aspects of ourselves that are not very ideal. That's not the case at all. It's shedding light on those shadow aspects that we're not proud of, that actually help us to improve them and to change them. And I think at times you might get unfairly angry about yourself or get anxiety like you're not doing enough or you can't do something. And I think it comes down to a really simple issue of just not being present and in touch with yourself enough. I think that you use your physical surroundings as a way to distract what your soul is trying to tell you to do. And so what's interesting here is with this answer the call, what is your soul calling you to do, and smother, I don't think you're being smothering to anyone, but I think you're starting to experience, or if not, you have been experiencing this feeling of being smothered in your gut, or like around your heart area. And it might not be like physical, but like I'm taking a deep breath right now. And like, I feel like that's because it's almost like you haven't been able to breathe as freely lately. And it's kind of because your guides are really trying to call your attention inward so that you can figure out what's going on and correctly interpret the messages that you need to address, because you are at a crossroads right now. And it doesn't have to be like a literal crossroads, like making some kind of choice. But I do feel like you're in this transitory phase where you're leaving a lot of parts of you behind that you don't want and embracing this new life and this new world for yourself. But you're really holding yourself back because you are refusing to take actions that will eliminate the present actions or the present habits that are holding you back from embodying who you're truly meant to be. And so I feel like the reason why there's so much blocked energy is because you know these things. Like there's a lot of things that you know, but you're not doing them. So then in turn, it's harder for you to believe them, if that makes sense. And it's stopping you from feeling like you're truly on a new path. And with the Nine of Swords here, part of me wonders if some of these habits are so instinctual you don't even realize that you do them. Maybe if it's like being on your phone too much, or ignoring things that need to be addressed. I also feel like journaling is really huge for you and something that you should be doing if you're not already. Your dreams, for one, you should be journaling. But also just kind of your day to day, because I think you might have this habit of saying things that you probably wouldn't, or maybe sharing things with people that you don't necessarily want to share, and you find yourself accidentally oversharing. And I think that might stem from other things, but I think it might make you happy or get that urge out to say things that maybe later you wish you hadn't shared. If you wrote that down, it's almost like talking to yourself. And I think that talking to yourself in the form of journaling would really help you, one, see how cool and funny you are, and also it will help you get in touch with yourself, because I think that you know you're meant for really great things and your soul is ready to take action for it. But I think that you have fears of, what if this shit isn't real? What if I can't do it? What if I fail? And Spirit is saying, listen to your dreams, listen to what your soul is telling you. You can stay the same way, but be honest with yourself. Is the way that you are right now, does that really feel good? Is that really, are you truly happy living your life this way? And if the answer is no, then it's time to take responsibility and abdicate the things that are not serving you right now so that you can embody the life that you truly want and take the actions that you need in order to be successful. Your soul has things that it needs to address to you that you may be aware of or you may not. And I feel like part of the reason why you're not addressing these things is because you're just afraid that if you do it, you might fail. And here's the thing about failure. Failure isn't actually failure. Failure is just learning from not being successful, which even then, failure and success have their own definitions. But anything that doesn't go the way you want it to, there's lessons in that. But also, it's important for you to trust that the universe is not trying to lead you astray. And sometimes things take 10 tries, 20 tries. But I think that endurance is something big here. And I think that your spiritual endurance is not very strong. And I don't mean that in like a bad way, like you're not spiritual or your psychic abilities are trash. Like, no, that's not what I mean at all. I think that you have the ability to be very open to them, but for whatever reason, it might scare you or you might think it's bullshit. Either reason is valid. But it might be really stopping you from embracing these spiritual gifts you have. And I'm seeing specifically clairvoyance. I think you should really pay attention to your daydreams as well, because the things that you're daydreaming about are desires of your soul. And, you know, maybe some of them aren't the most realistic. Like if you're daydreaming about becoming a world famous basketball player and you've never played basketball a day in your life, like that one might not be the most feasible, but you know, maybe something to do with basketball, like starting a rec league for kids in your area, or I don't know, just the things that you feel called to, whether they're people, they're hobbies, things you want to try. Explore them. There's value in the things that your soul is trying to get to you. And I feel like you're closed off to it right now out of fear and out of not knowing how to change your habits. And here's the thing. Sometimes we can't change our habits by ourselves. Sometimes we do need help, whether that's in the form of a counselor, a therapist, a life coach, a doctor, our friends, our family, whatever kind of outside help you need. Get it, because it's okay to need help with things. It's not shameful to feel like you need help. Like if everybody did everything by themselves, I mean, a lot of shit wouldn't get done and a lot of things wouldn't change. And I feel like one thing that Spirit is saying is that you're so much stronger than you realize. And the fact that we have 3 8s here, 888, is that there's a lot of abundance waiting for you on the other side of conquering these roadblocks that are stopping you from achieving your greatness. Because I can tell your soul's ready to take action. I just think your 3D physical self is not necessarily ready. You're a hard worker. There's no doubt about that. And so I think what you just need to realize is that you need to trust yourself, because you have the discipline and I'm hearing like tenacity and drive. So you have like the tenacity and the drive to succeed. It's honestly, most of the fear is in your head and it's just doubt. And this Roots of Abundance asks you to really focus on grounding, especially when you're starting your day, because that will help you. It will help you stop I'm sorry, I was going somewhere with that and now I lost it. But grounding during the day will give you this protective energy. Actually, what I love here in the 7 of Wands is there's like this protective bubble around her. And that is essentially your energy. And it's so easy throughout the day for like stupid shit to bother us that shouldn't bother us. Like, you know, if we're working and someone's just like a bitch to you and it like hurts your feelings and it sucks. Like, yeah, that stuff sucks. I've worked retail. I know what that shit is like. And it's hard sometimes not to let that shit get to you. But when you're grounded and when you're feeling good and whole in yourself, it's a lot easier for you to be like, okay, they're probably just going on. They probably just have something going on in their life. You know, the way they treated me is not a reflection of me. It's on them. And if you're not protected, you might go back to your coworkers and be like, why the fuck did that bitch like say that shit about me? Like, I'll fight her, like whatever. You might get fired up. You might get like pissed. And while that might be fun sometimes, it might make you angrier and more emotional than you need to be. And so I think for you, learning how to protect your energy and trust what you feel intuitively is going to help you a lot, because like I said, with that outside guidance, while it can be helpful, there are things that you need to address within your soul that nobody else can really address for you. And I think that's kind of important, especially with this tarot reading. Kind of one of the biggest messages that Spirit has for you is that this reading is essentially meant to say that yes, the things that you see in your dreams, the things that you feel in your heart, the things that you daydream about, they do have merit, and there is a reason why spirit is calling them to your attention. Now is the time to actually start grounding those things in the physical and trust the messages that you're getting for a reason. And if you're not happy right now, you're not on the right path. If you're happy, you're on the right path. So not to say that you have happiness is an everyday all the time thing. It's not, but you should be finding the path that makes you feel fulfilled and happy, and spirit is assuring that you will get there. And whatever this topic may be, it will come in time, and they're just asking you to just start trusting, because this smothering feeling that you feel internally is just going to keep getting worse until you address it. So I think spirit is asking you to kind of just trust that you are a more spiritual person by nature. And even if you don't feel like you are, because I feel like you suppress this a lot. I feel like you're pretty naturally intuitive, but just through growing up and living life in the physical world, it's really easy to lose that and to let go of that. But I feel like it's coming back very intensely for a reason. I feel like there's something big coming, some kind of choice you need to make, or some kind of new routine that you need to embody to become the person you want to be. But essentially, spirit's asking you to stop delaying. You're just delaying where you want to be further by ignoring what's going on internally and just focusing on the external. So I hope that makes sense. We're going to get you some channeled messages now from your spirit guides. Okay, been a few charms. Okay, so spirit, what advice do you have for pile 1? What do you want them to know? As you can tell, my cards are all messed up. So to start, we have when your fire dies, so do you. Relight it by doing what makes you feel passionate. And yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. This is probably why you're feeling this way, is because you're not doing the things that make you feel happy. You're not doing the things that light your fire. And there's so much fire in this spread. So, whatever you're not doing right now, start doing it. Listen to what your soul says. 111, you are the magician. So spirit is saying your manifestations are not going unnoticed, but you're actually slowing your manifestations down by doubting what it is that you're doing, and also by your habits. So I don't know if you've ever heard the term co-creating with the universe, but essentially, that's the process of you put in the work and spirit will put in the work. Spirit wants to put in the work, but your guides really can't help you if you don't take the action in the physical to get there. We also have who is against the queen will die. And I think that this is a wonderful representation of how your guides will get rid of the people that are not meant to be in your life and help you bring people who are for your growth, for what you need. And you might be seeing 111 as a synchronicity a lot, and spirit is just saying that you are a powerful manifester and you can create the vision that you see inside, whether it be love related, work related, personal passion related, whatever it may be. There really is no right or wrong to this. But let's see what else they want me to know. But I also think that they just want you to be confident in the person that you're becoming, and recognize that if anyone has something negative to say about it, that's on them. It's your job to follow your soul's truth. And just because your soul's truth isn't somebody else's truth doesn't mean it's wrong. There are objective truths in the world, which typically relate to the 3D, but soul truths are very subjective, and that's what you need to follow. We also have sacral chakra. Which makes a lot of sense because the sacral chakra relates to sexuality, passions, creativity. So I really think creativity and journaling could help you a lot. We also have when you see through the eyes of love, life doesn't feel as heavy, and light worker. So yeah, you are meant to be a light worker of some kind. And let's be clear, you can be a light worker and do really anything that you want. But a light worker is simply just somebody who is unafraid of what's to come. I'm sorry, I am channeling so weird today. I think it's because retrograde is coming, but being a light worker is essentially just bringing light and positivity to any area of your life that you're in. I feel like I said that incorrectly because I'm just on auto channel mode. But essentially, if you have not looked into being a light worker, it's time for you to do that. But on the back of the deck, we have 3 cards here, and I think they're all important. So the first one is big changes are coming. We are so proud of you. Keep up the good work and stay focused. And then we also have clairvoyant. You see it, which is what I was talking about, clairvoyance. And finally, we have the Lemon Man from Adventure Time saying that you are in an acceptable condition. So I think that the key to this is recognizing that you are worthy of the things that you are seeing. Recognize that you are worthy of success. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of abundance. And your actions need to show how special and how worthy you are, whether that's adopting a self-care routine or something like that. Whatever you need to do in the physical to show your soul that you are actively working towards what your soul is asking you to do. And remembering that at the end of the day, you are just a beautiful little being and you can do whatever you want. And I am rooting you on, and so are your guides. So finally, let's get you some charm now. So Spirit, what do you have for pile 1? Okay. So we have another arrow. And this is all about taking action. There are a lot of things that you need to take action towards, which is interesting because I feel like you're used to taking action, but I feel like a lot of action is more external. And I think there's a lot of internal action you need to be focused on. And also we have the guitar pick. When words fail, music speaks. So I definitely think that you could get messages through music. If music is one of your passions, then this could be a sign to get into that. But also pay attention to any songs that come up in your head that you haven't listened to recently that get kind of stuck in your head, because those are typically messages from your guides. And also just pay attention to, lyrics and music and stuff like that, because it does seem like there are messages that Spirit is trying to get to you through music. We also have the mermaid. And so I'm thinking of like the call of the siren. And so, instead of siren being literally like a mermaid singing you and luring you to your death, I feel like this is a good siren where it's luring you to the new life you envision yourself having, to the life that you want to have. So Spirit's kind of asking you to start answering that call that your soul is asking you to do. And with this circus charm here, I feel like this relates to the craziness of everyday life. And I feel like Spirit's asking you to find a way to put that away for a couple minutes each day so that you can focus on you and focus on yourself. Because if you don't have time to ground yourself, to go within, you're always going to be swept up in the craziness of your day-to-day actions. And I think that you need to be your own biggest fan right now. I feel like you might be really helpful to others, but you don't really see the value in yourself. And I think that it's time. And I'm hearing like the song Circus by Britney Spears, like All Eyes on Me. Just have the letter O. So if that is significant in any way, I don't know if in XOXO, I think X's are kisses, right? So O's are hugs. So maybe you just even if it's like giving yourself a hug or giving someone you care about a hug, that might be something nice that will just help you feel a little bit better and a little bit brighter. We also have the padlock here. So yeah, so Spirit is saying that it's time to start unlocking those things inside of you that you are unwilling to release. And you might feel like you don't know what they are, but I promise with enough stillness and enough silence and enough going within, you will figure out what your soul is trying to tell you to do. The most important thing is that you write them down, especially if you're a forgetful person, so that, they don't go unnoticed or you forget them. We also have the elephant here. And so I feel like Spirit is saying that you are absolutely capable of overcoming any obstacles that come your way. And if there are any obstacles that seem too big to overcome, then they're merely detours in the right direction. And finally, we have letter G. Oh, so yeah, Spirit is saying go for it. It's time. Go for what you want. Go for what that person, that career, that hobby, whatever it is that your soul is calling you to do. Spirit is saying, hey, go for it. It's time. Do what your soul is wanting you to do, because you will not fail. Failure is subjective anyway. And I promise that by listening to your soul, you will find yourself in the place where you want to be. Even if it's not exactly how you envisioned it, it's usually better anyway. So pile 1, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how this resonates. And I would love to hear what you guys are going after. If you enjoyed this video, definitely leave it a like. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and joined our little fam over here. But that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards and charms. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this. And I hope you'll come back and see me again soon.